Welcome to another edition of It's a Long Beach Thing. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and like us on Facebook and on Instagram. We have another great show for you today. We have somebody running for City Council, Sequoia Neff. Sequoia, how are you today?
Hi, thanks for having me on.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for taking the time. I'm sure you're extremely busy right now.
Yeah, my days are packed together like Tetris, but I definitely was going to make time for you, Paul.
Right on, right on. Well, let's get started, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. What's your first association with this great city of Long Beach?
Well, I am Long Beach homegrown, proud to say it. Spent my earlier years, I grew up in those the apartments across the street from Jordan, so those were my old stomping grounds. And as I got older, my family ended up getting a house on Myrtle and 60th. And by the time I got to high school, we'd moved further south. So I ended up going to Poly for high school and raised my children in Long Beach. They went to Emerson, Coverly, Hughes, and then on to Poly. I like mom.
So you grew up your kids sounds like in the Bixby Knolls area. Is that correct?
I've lived in every pocket and corner of Long Beach.
Okay.
You name it, I've lived there.
Uh,
But I just now moved back to North Long Beach. So this is my first time going back to my roots. And I've lived in every part of Long Beach, but now I'm back to where it all began. So it's my first time back over in North Long Beach.
Very cool. Well, let's start here where you went to Poly. Sounds like you moved from the kind of the Jordan area, the North Long Beach side, towards
Mhm.
Poly. Was that a transition for you as far as did you know anybody going to Poly at the time? Was it hard to kind of get into that school in that way? And were you because like Poly, you got the pace and you got all these programs that like
Mhm.
are like nationally recognized.
Yeah, well, I was in CIC, which did help. Um, but I knew a lot of people by the time I got in there. So I've done outside sports. Usually when you do the travel sports, you usually get to meet a lot of people around the city. And so I had track, I had basketball, and I played travel league, and I met so many people. So by the time I got to Poly, I knew a lot of people already. And actually, people didn't know that I was a freshman. They thought maybe I was a sophomore or a junior when I came in because I knew all the older kids, which was kind of cool because, I fit in with the cool guys and the older guys, as a freshman. But yeah, no, it wasn't a transition. It's pretty easy. It's pretty smooth.
Now, did you play sports into Poly?
I did. I played varsity basketball in ninth grade year.
Wow.
I also ran track as well. So those were my two sports.
And Poly is known for their scholars and their athletes. I think that's the slogan of Poly, right? Something about scholars and
Right?
athletes,
Yep.
scholars and champions. I think it's
Yes,
is
it is.
their is
Uh-huh.
their is their slogan.
A lot of
So,
good talent out of Poly. Lots of good talent.
well, I don't know if it still holds true to this day. It may. There is more NFL players coming out of Poly than any other school in the nation.
I feel like that still holds true. But even just aside from football, we have lots of good athletes in
Oh
other
yeah.
sports. Yeah. I know I have families that I know their kids are playing we're playing softball, baseball, got some soccer kids. Yeah, just a lot of talent in general across the
I agree.
board.
I agree. People forget this because it's a long time ago. But one of the greatest hitters in Major League Baseball history went to Poly. Tony Gwynn went there in the early '80s. People forget
Hmm.
about that because he's known for being San Diego, but he grew up in Long Beach.
Yeah, yeah. So not just sports, everything. There's so much talent all over the place. Arts. I mean, we just have a big pool of talent here all through Long Beach.
Well, yeah, yeah. Oh, no question about it. So when you were playing sports at Poly and CIC, it's called CIC, correct?
Hmm.
So, which is a higher level of academics.
It's in between pace. So
Yeah,
it's just one step before pace. You might have 3 or 4 hours of homework pace. You might have 10.
yeah, exactly. So, being an athlete like you were going playing as a freshman on the varsity basketball team, running track and field, which that so basketball is a winter sport for correct, and then track is a spring sport.
Yeah, and they overlapped because to be fair, track is a year-round thing.
Yeah,
You know, and actually anything that you want to be good at is year-round,
yeah.
right? So they overlapped a lot, and there used to be conflict between my coaches. No, take her out of track, take her out of basketball, and I toggled with that for the longest time. But then I tore my ACL
Oh no.
playing basketball,
What year did you do that?
and I did that my freshman year, at the tail
Oh
end of my
no.
freshman year. And so it took me, yeah, I had to rehabilitate for that. Um, but it essentially messed up my track career also,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So yeah. And they were like, I told you so.
Uh,
I told you don't play basketball. But that was my love. Basketball actually was my passion. That was my first love. So, but
so
now I
be-
play it recreationally.
so after you tore your ACL, did you not play track then and just concentrate on basketball or?
Well, I did. So it ended up going to Oregon for a year. That's where my grandparents lived, and they pretty well off. They ended up paying for my surgery cash,
Wow.
and there was a good doctor there, so they wanted that doctor. They paid for my surgery. It took some time to rehabilitate, and then I started back slowly but surely playing basketball again. And then it never was quite the same. It was hard to keep up, I want to
Mhm.
say, after that. So I did stay in shape, and I did what every um, athlete who gets injured does. I started coaching.
Okay.
So yeah, so I went on to coaching. So I spent most of my adult life coaching kids in basketball and track.
Oh, right on. Okay, so after you graduated poly, what happened after that? Is that when you start coaching rec
Yeah, so
teams?
I started having kids and a family. I got married, had kids young, and I wanted to stay very close to my boys, especially
Hmm.
raise them in Long Beach. And we all know Long Beach is a great city, but we do have pockets in areas that aren't so good.
Yeah.
So it was my intention to always stay pretty close to my boys, and in doing so, I became their coach in everything, pretty much.
Mm.
I coached them in baseball and basketball. I was their track coach. I ended up starting my own track league and my own basketball league, and I ran those for a little over 10 years in Long Beach. So in doing so, I ended up collecting more kids, right? Um, and we ended up getting a really good sized team. And a lot of our kids went to the Junior Olympics. We took a lot of the kids to
Whoa.
the Junior Olympics. So it just started off as something very small, family. And kids were like, "What's this? What are you doing?" And it just grew.
How was that relationship with your boys being the coach? I know as boys and girls get older, sometimes they try to kind of push away a little bit from the parents. So how did you handle that, or was that even an issue with you when you were coaching your boys?
I don't know what I did or didn't do, but what I can say is I never had a problem.
Good.
And, my dad was pretty tough on me. And I didn't understand until I became adult and started coaching my own kids. I finally understood he pushed me because he loved me. He pushed
Hmm.
me because he wanted the best for me. But when I was younger, my dad coaching me, we just always had conflict because he
Mm.
was coach all the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to just be dad, you
Yeah.
know. Now I appreciate it after having coached my kids, but somehow I was able to be mom and coach, but there were some caveats there. So, for instance, when I was coaching them, they could not call me mom,
Mm, okay.
right? Because I didn't want all the other kids to feel that they, was being unfair. So they had to call me Coach Sequoia, the same thing that the other kids called me.
Hmm.
And then when we got home, they would call me mom.
Hmm.
So we transitioned well from the field into the house. And like I said, I don't know what I did or didn't do, but it worked out. And my kids actually loved me coaching them, as far as
Oh,
I know. I mean, at least that's
that's
what they tell me.
so you dealt with
They
the
may not want to run an extra lap. That could be it. I don't know. Or they don't want to do suicides.
well, so I would imagine with you coaching your kids and coaching, other kids, you were helping them through not only sports but kind of life. And I would imagine, a lot of these kids, have had anxiety, especially for big events, not maybe sports, but also maybe, in their academics or in their lives. How did you handle that with being a coach and dealing with different kids from all over Long Beach?
Well, that's a good question, one that I love to answer. Um, in coaching, I realized that it wasn't necessarily coaching that I enjoyed. I enjoyed mentoring the kids. For
Mhm.
me, it was not about winning. Um, though winning is great and it feels good.
Yeah.
But for me, it was about teaching them life lessons through sports. And that's when I started mentoring some of the girls in the community. Um, I wanted, for example, um, track. So track is an individual sport. It's a social sport, but it's
Yeah.
individual other than real relays. So when you lose, you have to learn how to lose with dignity. You have to take accountability. You have to say, you know what, I did this wrong, but I can come back better this time. In track, you are not competing against the other people on the track. You are competing against yourself, against your best time, right? You
Hmm.
want to um, set a record and your personal record, right? Um, and when you're running, and I tell my kids this all the time, never look in the other lanes. You're never looking in the other lane. You stay in your lane.
Hmm.
And that's a new thing that, people say these days, stay in your lane. But it's true. Track is a metaphor for life when they say it is true. And so these are some of the lessons that I hoped to give. And so for me, it was always way more than just coaching kids to be great athletes. I wanted them to be, you know, have good character.
Hmm.
And I wanted them to learn how to believe in themselves. And so, I ended up founding a couple nonprofits that cater to kids in need. And what we did is through my own personal philanthropy and through these nonprofits, we were able to sponsor kids in things like sports, um, academics, where they need tutoring or something, or something of the arts. Maybe they played drums or something. We'd sponsor these kids so that they would be able to be a part of these, because I truly believe sports and things like that really build character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of the things I'm really, really passionate about, and I'm so happy that I did it from my passion, and I didn't realize that it was one of my greatest parts of parenting. Coaching actually helped me parent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So, was that your transition from coaching into the nonprofit world? Is that kind of the
Yeah, well,
transition?
I did both simultaneously. So I started taking on kids, and we'd go on different field trips and to different museums and just things like that. And I love being a part of their lives. And now a lot of them are grown and they see me and they're like, Coach Sequoia. And it's just so great to see these kids. A lot of them went off to college. We got some athletes that ran with me and ended up going to the NFL. One of my girls, and I'm still actively a part of her life, Rachel Glenn. She's actually competing in the 2028 Olympics, and she
Wow,
competed in the last Olympics. So yeah, it's just great to see her happy and excited where she is in her life, and knowing that I was a part of that.
that's excellent. So, are you still doing the nonprofit work?
So no, we I want to say we kind of I'm trying to think what year that was. We kind of dismantled the team around the time that my boys had kind of moved on. They went through high school and they moved on. My second oldest, he came back and tried to help a little bit, but we ended up. My son went to the Air Force, and we kind of started spreading out, and it was
Yeah.
just too hard to keep up. So I kind of honed in, and that's when I honed in on real estate, which I've been doing for almost 20 years. But that's when I kind of went deeper into real estate.
Talk about that a little bit because that's transition. I think people think, I mean, when you go into real estate, especially realtors, that they have this misconception that people go into real estate because they want to have a lot more free time, and I know that's completely false. If you want to make money and you want to make a career out of it, you're actually working more because
Yeah.
weekends actually are prime time for realtors to make new connections and new business. So talk about that transition from, coaching and doing the nonprofit work to the real estate market, which I'm sure there is a lot, I'm sure skills you can translate into the real estate market, but it's kind of a different field. So how did you start that off and how did you develop a career doing that?
So, someone had come up to me. I bought my first house at 19, and I didn't know what I was doing. I
Mhm.
was, the realtor's like, give me this paperwork and we're gonna go here. And I bought the house. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was always curious about real estate. And someone came to me one day and they said, you would make a good realtor. And I said, really? I said, yeah, I think you should try it. And I'm like, I'm the type of person you just can't challenge me to do anything because then I go do it. you never don't challenge me anything. I'm just gonna do it. So I said, okay, I'll look into it, and I ended up getting my license. And like you said, real estate, people have this misconception of real estate, and especially in these days because it's glamorized. You see it on TV, and you see all these different shows, and they make it look like it's just a nice world and you make all this money and you're living this life, and it's not true.
Mhm.
um, as with anything, you have to be consistent, you have to really work hard, and
Mhm.
like you said, it is your own business, so you are putting double the time in that you would if you worked a 9 to 5,
Mhm.
right? So my first year or two, I sold like one house, and then I next year I sold like one house, and
Mhm.
I quit a million times. I'm
Mhm.
quitting this job. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Um, but I like abuse, so I went back. So I went back for more. I didn't give up, but it wasn't until maybe midway through my career that I started to understand some things. I started to understand consistency pays off. And as I'm going and developing, now here we are, fast forward. Um, a few years ago, I started my own business, my own real estate company, and I had realtors coming in under me, and now I'm mentoring them, right? And my son told me, he said, "Mom, you know what? I think your calling was to be a realtor. You're good at it."
Mhm.
And I said, "You know what? I always thought so too, but not so much now." I said, "I think my calling was to be a broker
Mhm.
because I love teaching,
Yeah.
right? And it's always teaching, coaching. That's my passion." And
Mhm.
so I think I'm good at coaching them and showing them what to do,
Yeah.
right? So I've discovered in this age that that's truly my core passion, is just to be able to teach and lead.
What's the name of your brokerage?
Treehouse Realty Group.
Treehouse Rose. Okay.
So
So Sequoia.
Sequoia
Yeah.
Tree, we sell houses. You get
Love
it?
it. Love it. Love the
Okay.
connection. So was it a I mean, you say that you thrive on challenges and being challenged. So when you were so when you were in the thick of things as a realtor, did somebody challenge you to be a broker, or how that come about?
I'm just that person that I'm always moving the bar on myself.
Hmm.
I always move the bar, and I almost, like I say, don't challenge me. Don't tell me not to do it. Then I got to do it. It's like
Hmm.
as soon as I get somewhere, I'm like, okay, what's next?
Hmm.
I don't know how to sit idle. I'm ready for the next. I'm ready for the next thing and the
Yeah.
next challenge. And it's something that I just can't turn off on
Hmm.
me. I don't think. Maybe one day I will when it's time to retire. But yeah, so I wanted to move on to the next thing, and again, with anything, it's a challenge.
Hmm.
Starting your own business, and here we are a few years in, and we've expanded to other states. So I'm
Love
excited
it.
about that.
Love it. And it's a different kind of sale. It's more recruiting, correct?
Yeah, because my clients are now my realtors.
Yeah. How was
So
that transition? Tell me about that transition.
it's tough because the biggest hurdle that I have as a broker is getting my realtors to believe in themselves.
Hmm.
That's my biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
It's like coaching athletes
Yeah.
that have the talent and don't know that it's there. Your biggest hurdle is to make them see what you see,
Hmm.
right? And help them to understand that if you keep pushing, you keep trying, you will get there. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
And so that has been, I think, the hardest thing of being a broker and and
Hmm.
and getting those realtors energized.
So you do that for a few years, and then you're thinking, well, you know what? I think I've led kids, I've led realtors, and now I want to lead the city. So tell us how
Knew you were
that came
going
about.
there. you know um so yeah, I've had I come back to North Long Beach, and I'm learning relearning the area, and then it's not the same as when I left. um
How long ago was it when you left?
well, I hadn't moved back. I mean, since I left maybe middle school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I haven't lived in North Long Beach since then. I've lived in all other parts of Long Beach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm back at my old stomping grounds, and it's a totally different from what I remember. Um, but yeah, I had a lot of people in the community say, you would be really good at city council. Like you, I think you could do that. You have the leader in you. You have the spirit. Um, I have that the energy, I guess,
Yeah.
and I've always operated. People that know me around the city. If you say my name is attached with integrity,
Hmm.
and running my business and everything. And that's what a lot of my realtors actually love that, because they're like I'm getting business just because I'm attached to you, because
Hmm.
people know how I operate. So yeah, so it's a push from a few people in the community, and I said, let me look into it. It may be something that I'll think about. And I looked into it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. So here I am, uh, running for city council, District 9.
And I want to dive into that a little bit, but first I want to ask you, what made you want to come back to North Long Beach? What pulled you back?
So I moved out of the city, and I got this big pretty house with my children. And I think we didn't discuss how many children I have. I think we skipped that part, but I have 6 children.
Whoa.
So yeah, so I moved out of the city. I got this big pretty house. I'm thinking, yeah, this will be the base, the home base for all my kids. And everybody moved away.
Hmm.
So now I'm an empty nester, right? It's just
Yeah.
me. And I said, okay, well, there's no need for me to be here. Let me go back to what I know. And it's just like I spin the block. I always come back to Long Beach, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, so here I am. I don't know that I necessarily was planned to come directly to North Long Beach. This is where I landed.
Hmm.
But yeah. But nonetheless, it would have been Long Beach, because this is what I know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I want, now that you mentioned you have 6 children, so at 19, buying your own home, I assume that you already started a family at that point.
Yes, I was a young mom. Yeah, young
How
mom.
many was that your first child at that time, or
Yeah, I had my first kid at 18.
okay?
So yeah, I was a very, very young mom, and then they just kept coming. I don't know what happened. I blinked and it was another kid.
Well, I mean,
um,
and it sounds like you've always kind of had entrepreneur type jobs, and that's hard to, I mean, to get the ball rolling on entrepreneur jobs, knowing that you gotta make enough money to pay the mortgage because you bought a home, and pay for all the expenses of being a mother. So I just want to just go back on that. How did you all make that work and kept your sanity at such a
I
young age?
Now I don't know how I kept my sanity. That part I don't know. But I look back now and I'm like, how did I do that?
Uh-huh.
just, I have a grandbaby, and my son, my first grandbaby, my son's like, here, mom. I'm like, what do you do with this thing?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember. Here we are, all my kids are grown, but I'm like, the time just went by. But I do remember we had hard times. Um, I do remember it being tough, and I do remember being stressed and trying to figure it all out. And again, I'm a young mom. I don't know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
right? I was feeling my way through. I'm a kid with a kid,
Hmm.
and but one thing I did do is I always kept my boys active. I kept them active in the community. And my son just told me maybe a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Mom," he said, whenever somebody needed something in the community, you would say, "Oh, my boys will take care of it. My boys got it." My boys, and you would bring us out to all these things, and we had to help people set up stuff. And we had this event for Autism Long Beach. I don't believe they're around anymore, but I made my boys pull all the things out of the trucks and set it up. And they said, we hated doing that. We were like, "Oh man, mom volunteered us again." He said, "But you know what? Now that I'm adult, I'm so happy that you made us help out in the community.
Hmm.
I'm so happy that you made us help people." And so I always kept my boys close, and I kept them active. Whatever I was doing, I made them a part of it.
Hmm.
Right. So my boys have done a lot in the community as well. They know a lot of people around Long Beach, and everybody knows them.
Good, good. So it sounds like that makes more sense on why you would run because you've always been a community person first and foremost.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, we do like a lot of cleanups, and we help with the homeless initiative. And these are things that I've always done,
Hmm.
save for the time I moved out of the city. But yeah, these are things we've always done, and my kids have helped with too.
So tell me about the campaign. Tell me what you've learned through this journey so far.
It's been a very long 3 weeks. It's been a very long, short 3 weeks. I've learned a lot. I feel like I'm in this expedient master class of politics.
Hmm.
I don't consider myself a politician. I don't know that I'll ever consider myself a politician. I am just somebody who's invested in Long Beach. I love the city. I would love to see the best for it. I'm a mom in the city, and I have a business here in the city, and so I want to see the best for Long Beach. I don't consider myself a politician,
Hmm.
um, but I would love to. There's so many things that I would love to bring, and so many things that I think that I can offer, and the parts that I don't know, I'm a quick study. I'm a
Hmm.
quick learner, and so just in these 3 weeks, I've learned a lot. I've learned a whole bunch, and I'm getting a lot of clarity that the average resident would never even imagine,
Hmm.
would never imagine, and that I didn't imagine. And so as I'm going, I'm like, okay, that's how that works.
Hmm.
Oh, this is why they do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
when is the actual election?
the election is June 2nd
Yeah.
next year,
Hmm.
2026.
Hmm.
So we have a ways to go. The actual nomination period is like February to March. It's like a month in between. So that's
Hmm.
like the actual period of getting on the ticket, getting on the ballot. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then we kind of go. I guess that's when we really start going from there.
So if you were to get elected, and I hope you do, what are the first things that you would like to do with the District 9 to make it better?
Well, my first initiative, my first and foremost, which I feel like should be anybody's first initiative, would be to tackle the human trafficking on Long Beach Boulevard.
Wow. Wow, that's a daunting task which needed to be done years and years and years ago.
Yes. And I recall it being there. I remember, in high school, you might see one or two of the girls on the
Mhm.
boulevard.
Yeah.
But now it is, it's, it's a lot. There's,
Hmm.
there's lots of girls. Many of them are underage.
Yeah.
Not that it's good, to be human trafficked at any age,
Of course.
but it's also right near an elementary school.
Hmm.
And that's not okay. We're, sexualizing our kids way too young, and something needs to happen with that. And
Hmm.
so that would be the first thing that I'd want to tackle.
How would you go about doing that? What would be the first thing you would do? Because that obviously the very complex, uh, um, daunting task that you're going to be taking on.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there's any one solution. I think it needs to be a combination of things that
Hmm.
need to happen.
Hmm.
The guys that are picking up these girls need to be held accountable,
Yeah.
right? We need law enforcement on the ones that are trafficking the girls, and then we
Mhm.
also need outreach for the girls, because a lot of these girls, um it's not necessarily by choice that they're out
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right? So we need different programs, and it's not just one program for these girls, because there's different elements to this. Some of the girls, they feel like, well, once they leave, they need protection,
Hmm.
they need money, they need
Yeah.
shelter, they need food. I mean, there's so many different things that they need.
Yeah.
So the outreach is we need a lot of people coming together to help that. And I think it would help to get more security cameras, which we've been asking for, and this community's been asking for. And but so there's a number of different things that I think need to happen simultaneously. And some things they've tried, and it didn't work, and some things haven't been attempted. So my thing my my thing would be to keep pushing, continue to push until we can get some results.
Yeah. Yeah. Which,
And
which,
whatever that entails, to
yeah.
keep pushing until we
Hmm.
get results.
Hmm. And a subject that kind of goes along with that, homelessness. I'm sure that plays a part in all this as well.
Hmm.
And throughout the city of Long Beach, obviously that's been an issue. I know that there has been some stuff that's been put in play that's lowered the numbers a little bit, but is there anything that you're gonna wanting to do about that front?
Well, actually, the numbers have been increasing for
Oh, really?
they've skyrocketed for the past 3 or 4 years, and I'm pretty sure COVID played a part in some things. But I'm very big on prevention
Hmm.
in every aspect of my life, no matter what it is. And I teach my kids, prevention is always better than trying to fix or cure something after the fact.
Yeah.
And so I think there needs to be more preventative efforts,
Hmm.
because it's less costly than now trying to, cleanups and law enforcement, all the different things that come after the fact. Right.
Hmm.
So, my thing would be measures that would help to prevent or lower the amount of people that, end up becoming homeless.
Hmm.
And, of course, it's the same thing. Outreach is very, very important. And there has to be a sense of accountability also.
Hmm.
So, I want to tackle it with compassion, but also accountability.
Hmm. And I would imagine if you're able to tackle both those subjects, the crime rate in your area or in Long Beach in general would go down, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I imagine so. How much I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of scientific there.
Yeah.
Like, if you can you can prevent and get rid of some of those things. Honestly, affordable housing, affordability is like the root cause of everything, if you think
Hmm.
about it,
Hmm.
because it's the reason for high crime. Whenever you look at areas that are uh, where people cannot afford certain things, that the crime is higher. Those are statistics that we see, right?
Hmm.
So I think, affordable housing is definitely something we need to fix, because that helps a lot of things. It might help some of these girls feel like they can't afford no place to go,
Hmm.
homelessness and
Hmm.
crime. So I think that's kind of like the base.
Hmm. Well, obviously you're an expert in that, coming from a realtor background. What are the steps to do that? Because I agree. I mean, when growing up in Long Beach, as I did, as you did, it used to be the best kept secret in Southern California, Long Beach, because it was a beach city, but it was affordable for all over.
Yes, yes.
And then
As
all
a
of a
matter of
sudden,
fact, during COVID, Long Beach was so during COVID, we're selling houses and they're selling like crazy. It was like the best
Mhm,
time for realtors. And I feel like all cities started to skyrocket their price because they saw people were like going to the market, and Long Beach was one of the last areas that got on board with that. It's almost like they didn't realize like, oh, we can raise our prices too.
mhm,
So Long Beach was still affordable
yeah,
for a little while, right? I mean, it's been going up, but it was still more affordable than some of the other cities. But now it's getting higher. So affordability is not just a Long Beach problem; it's a
mhm,
California problem.
yeah,
Um, when you go to other states, and I'm licensed in several states, and so I can tell you that, of course, that the prices are lower.
mhm,
Some states tremendously lower than California.
mhm,
But I do think there are some things that we can do with affordable housing. We're looking at the contracts that we get. These contractors that come in are developers, and they want to put some housing or condos or something like that. I think we need to start looking at contracts that offer affordable housing.
mhm,
Yeah, and sometimes what they do, I don't necessarily agree with. What they do is, like, if you have a condo, you have condos, they'll take a certain amount of those units. They say, well, we need, we'll approve this contract if you give us some affordable housing. Sure, I'll make 10 units, we'll lower them so many odd $100 and we'll make it affordable. But then they just tack on the difference to the other homes. And so
yeah,
now the people coming in other homes are paying more.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, but there's certain things that you can do, I think, that will kind of help to offset. But again, it's not necessarily a Long Beach problem, though there are things we can do. We can give grants.
mhm,
I know plenty of grant programs. I just got someone in a condo, $50,000 grant.
mhm,
She paid nothing out of pocket. It was great.
yeah,
So there are things that we can do to try to help people get housing and get in homes, and not just purchase, but also renting. And then another thing that I've discovered here is that the um, the renting criteria is also high. It's harder to rent than it is to purchase a home. You can purchase a house with a 500 and some credit score. Well, there's some rental companies in the area that are asking for a 670 credit score and a cosigner in order to get in.
mhm,
Right. So they're also making the criteria high as well.
mhm.
So that needs to be something to be, I mean, that's something to be looked at.
Yeah. What about kind of on the business side of that, where you make if you make these rules about, this area, the rent's a certain amount, do you think that will affect like developers of wanting to purchase that land and make those?
That's the catch 22.
Hmm.
You're right. And that's the catch 22 is because, I own homes across the US, and I have renters. So I understand both sides of things.
Hmm.
Why do I want to buy this or buy in here if I'm not going to make any money off of it?
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
So that's the catch 22.
Hmm.
And I'm a strong believer that there is always a way. There is always a way for
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah.
There's always a way. We just got to figure out that way. We got to figure out where that divide is and figure out how to get through that.
Hmm.
Um, because we don't want to fin off the developers,
Hmm.
right? But we also want to keep it affordable for our residents, because right now there's a mass exodus of people who are leaving out of the city, and we don't
Yeah.
want that either,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So we have to find that median.
Hmm. I believe the current mayor right now, Rex Richardson, didn't wasn't his District 9?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he was when he was council member. Yes, he was in
Yeah.
nine.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have you reached out to him for any advice as far as what he went through when he was district member at 9?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I just recently announced my candidacy, and I've been pulled left and right and up and down, and I've been all over the place. Like I said when we first started, my schedule's been packed together like Tetris. But at some point, I'm sure we'll have a conversation, and I'm actually curious to know what was going on with District 9 during that time.
Hmm. Yeah, because it wasn't that long ago when he was the
No,
district.
no,
Yeah,
not too long ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what else? What else do you want to tell our viewers about yourself and about what you're going to do for the District 9 and for Long Beach?
Well, I'm a person who I continue to push, and I continue to and I love to push people to accomplish goals. And that's me. I cheer on, I help, I lead, I pull, I push. I do what I feel are the necessary things to do to get people in the right direction. And I would love to revitalize and re-energize this desert, which is also known as District 9. I would love to get the people re-energized. I would love to get this area revitalized. I love to bring commerce to the city, or to this area, because when we make a better district, we make a better Long Beach. Right? I don't just stay here in this district. I'm all over Long Beach. So I would love to see a better Long Beach, and I want to do my part in making it better in District 9. And again, I'm that person that doesn't stop. So if my community and my people tell me, listen, this is what we want, I will fight for it. That's what you want. I'm a fighter and I'm a go-getter. Those who know me know that I will go out and I will get it done.
Fantastic. Sequoia, before I let you go, I like to end the podcast with a fun question. And obviously, with the amount of time you spent in Long
The
Beach, I know
hardest question.
you got some people, you got some spots for me. Where do you like to eat in Long Beach?
This is a very hard question. It's the hardest one because there's so many good eateries all over the city. Um, but if I were being fair, I'm just gonna be honest here. I eat at Lola's probably more often
Okay.
than any other spot. Yeah.
The
But
one
there's,
on the one on
I,
Fourth
I
or
go
the
to
one
one
on
right
Big
here in
Street?
Bixby because it's close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Lola's. It's the green sauce with the chips is so good.
Oh yeah.
I go there just for the sauce. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, it's so
I eat
good.
there all the time. The one on Fourth Street.
Oh, you go down to Fourth Street. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I go to that one sometimes too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love Lola. So I go there at least twice a month. So I don't know that I would call it my favorite, but it's just my go-to spot. I take my laptop out, do some work, and eat. So
Any other spots you like to go to?
I like the attic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like the mac and cheese with the
With
spicy
the
Cheetos?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's really good. I always go like to I try the hole in the wall places. Those have the best food.
Oh
Best
yeah.
food, the little mom and pops, best food. So I think I'm gonna make it a thing that maybe I'll every week try a different spot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe a thing, yeah,
Yeah. Probably a lot and probably in your district you'll probably try.
yeah. And next time you see me, I might be a different person.
Well,
But
Sequoia, thank you for your time. I know you're really busy. I wish you the best of luck. I know that where your heart is in the right spot. So I root for people that have the right intentions, and I feel your energy, and I feel it's for the right reasons that you're running. And I wish you nothing but the best.
I thank you so much for having me on. This was fun. It was good to speak to you. Thank you so much, Paul.
You're welcome. It's been a Long Beach thing.